Hello YouTube, and welcome to another Be the Hustler video. Boy, do I have a crazy one for you. So make sure that when you start watching this video, you watch it the whole way through, because I'm going to take you down a huge journey. Are you guys ready? Here we go. Okay, have you ever had a disagreement about religion, politics, or any controversial topic in your life? Have you? Of course you have. We have them all the time. But what's important to understand is a huge piece that almost everybody that gets into those disagreements doesn't understand. Let's dive deep. Okay, I want you to go outside and stand outside on your front lawn. I'm assuming your grass is green. If it's like dead because you didn't water it, it is what it is. But let's assume that it's green. Stand on your front lawn and look down. Look down at planet Earth, and what do you see? I bet you just see a big patch of green grass, right? Yep, that's probably all I'd see too. Okay. So now, the next time you're at a hotel, which won't be anytime soon right now because we're all stuck at home, wonderful COVID-19's keeping us locked down for a little while. It is what it is. But the next time you're at a hotel, go to one of the top floors. Go to the 25th or 30th floor and look out. Tell me what you see when you look out. What does Earth look like? Is it just that patch of green grass, or is it something else? What do you see? Wow, you see cars in the distance. You see buildings. You see a lot of stuff. You see people walking, because you're not looking just down. You're not just looking from one perspective. You're not looking straight down. You're looking and you're panning and you're seeing a lot more stuff. So if I was to ask you in the first example, I said, I want you to write a paper on what planet Earth looks like. What is planet Earth? I can't see much more than you talking about the green grass, maybe a couple bugs that you see down there walking around, and whatever else just happens to be on the ground, maybe a leaf or a piece of trash or something like that. And then I say, write something on what you saw when you were standing at the top of the hotel on the 30th floor, looking out of the window. What did you see? Okay, now the next time you're in an airplane, what do you see? Wow, you see the clouds now. You didn't see the clouds before. Maybe you did. Maybe you didn't notice them. And just for the heck of it, let's just go and let's go to Houston and jump in a space shuttle and let's go to outer space, all right? Now look at Earth. Now tell me what you see and what planet Earth looks like. And so I know this is crazy to go down this direction, but you're asking, how does this relate to business? How does this relate to business? I will tell you. If you've only got one perspective, one solution, or one idea, if you're one-dimensional, if you only look down at the grass, you're looking at the ground every single time, you're going to miss the rest of the world. And if you're not applying that in your business, most likely you're going to eventually go out of business, unless you've just got this great customer service, great crew, you're always managing perfectly. I'm just telling you, it's going to be very difficult if you're not looking and panning and seeing what's around you. What are your employees doing? How are they treating your customers? What are your customers' comments? How are they responding? Are you even paying attention to it? How does your food taste at your restaurant? Is it hot when it's served? Is it cold? Is it prepared correctly? So many different things. When somebody walks into your business, what's the first thing they see? What's the first thing they smell? Again, if you're not open-minded, you're going to miss all this stuff. If you're not paying attention, you're going to miss this stuff. And so when I ask somebody about their business and I say, tell me about your business, you'd be surprised how many times I correlate and I think, well, this guy's just one of those guys just looking down at the ground saying, yep, that's what I see and that's how it is and there's nothing I can do about it. When ironically, there's a whole bunch of people in the world that are succeeding in that same industry. And what's the difference between this guy and that guy, or this gal and that girl running their business? That's the big difference right there. So this applied to me many times in the history, and I'm going to bring up, like I always do, my trading card business. So initially, we were just baseball cards. And then we said, wow, they also, throughout the test of time and back in the 50s and on, they made them before that, they also made football cards. They made basketball cards. They made hockey cards. They made all these different cards. And at one point, we were one-dimensional. We were the ones only looking at one perspective, a one-sided business, looking straight at the ground and saying, all we got to do is sell baseball cards. Luckily, we had gotten into football and basketball and hockey and things like that, because when Shaquille O'Neal came out in the early 90s, in like 92 and 93, we actually made a lot of money off of selling basketball cards. We would have completely missed out on that if we were just one-sided and just looking at baseball cards. That carried us for quite a while. Just Shaquille O'Neal, a couple years of him being hot. He was a sensation. Everybody loved Shaq. He was something special. And then one of the worst things happened to me in that trading card business. Major League Baseball went on strike, 1994, and it spilled into 1995. Now imagine being a baseball card shop owner, I should say sport card shop owner, and having to sell trading cards when there's no more baseball on TV because the players don't want to play, because they're not getting paid enough, which is hard for the average person to understand. I mean, I just, when I was that age, I just was like, why are these guys arguing? They're already getting millions of dollars. Most of them are getting millions of dollars. They want a little bit more money and they're going to go on strike and wreck the rest of all the fans that made them who they are. They're going to wreck all the little baseball card shops and all the apparel shops selling apparel. And that's what happened. That's when baseball card shops became an endangered species. Okay. If you survived in the trading card market and you were a sport card store and you survived past that and you're open today, or, you went 5 or 10 or 15 years past that, maybe retired. If you survived that baseball strike, that meant that you were doing other things in most cases besides baseball cards. You experimented with other products, with other markets, right? There were some people that stayed mainly into sports cards and they gobbled up most of the market. However, for the most part, you had to adapt, you had to change. You had to go up to the 30th floor of the Marriott. You had to pan and you had to look around and you had to see what else is out there. And you might have had to get in the plane and look from a plane and look and see, oh my gosh, look, if we do that, that's something over there. That might be a good possibility. And so what we ended up doing was we kept having people call us and they kept saying, do you have magic cards? So this would have been like in 1995. We're getting calls just nonstop for magic cards. Now, mind you, as you all know, there's a basketball player named Magic Johnson. So what are you thinking we're assuming they're calling about? We're thinking they're calling for Magic Johnson trading cards. Nope, they don't want Magic Johnson. They want Magic the Gathering trading cards. So we actually got kind of frustrated because it was like, Collector's Cash, how can we help you? Magic Johnson? Magic the Gathering? No, we don't carry that, sorry. And after a while, it's kind of one of those, if you can't beat them, join them. We started kind of looking into it deeper and we decided to finally start carrying some Magic the Gathering cards. That decision right there propelled us into the future where we are today in 2020, where the core foundation of our trading card store is trading card games like Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball, Final Fantasy, whatever is out there that's a trading card and they have a cartoon and there's a huge following and they make it and they promote it, we usually carry it. But here's what's even crazier. I got to tell you this funny story. This is like the product of all products that like set the record for everything. All right. So imagine being a sports guy growing up, loving sports, having a baseball card shop, a sports card shop, then, deciding, okay, we're going to get into these fantasy trading cards called Magic. Okay, whatever, they're trading cards. And then when those kind of slowed down just a hint, people telling us, hey, have you ever thought of getting into Beanie Babies? I'm telling you, the first time I heard that, it was the dumbest idea I've ever heard. I'm thinking, there is no way in heck I'm going to sell stuffed animals. There's no way. I mean, I'll lose my man card if I do that. No, I'm just kidding. I just was like, what's going through my head is that preconceived notion that, hey, I'm a sports guy. How could I also sell? I didn't get into stuffed animals and dolls. That's not the business I wanted to get into. But when you're one-dimensional and you're one-sided and you've got blinders on, you can only see one perspective. Just like a lot of times when people argue their controversial topics. Regardless, I'm not going to take sides. You're not going to hear me come out and take sides. Oh, this, oh, that. That's your business what you believe. I'm not here to convince you. All I'm saying is take them blinders off and you'd be surprised how much stuff's to your left, how much stuff is to your right. And in business, you'd be shocked at what you're going to miss out on. Imagine when you got a restaurant and there's other restaurants that are telling you, hey, you should do, you have obviously your appetizers, your main menus, you've got your desserts. And they're like, have you ever thought about trying tapas? Have you ever thought about putting like a gelato bar right by the entrance so that as customers are leaving by the exit of the entrance, as they're leaving and they just had, their dinner and they passed on dessert, now they're gonna go and they're gonna see, oh my gosh, there's a whole gelato bar there. There's so many things. There's conventions for every single industry. They usually have them throughout the country. Obviously, usually the biggest ones are in like Vegas or LA or New York. That's where they have those massive convention centers. But you should, if you are not going to conventions of your business, of your trade, I don't care if you're in the insurance business, if you're in the new car business, if you're in the jewelry business, whatever, toy industry, whatever you're in, you have to be going to these things because that's where you meet people. That's where the magic happens. That's where the latest and greatest is being displayed. That's how people find out about stuff before the average other business owner, and they're always ahead of their trend. They're traveling, they're putting in the time. And you will not believe this, but most people that have a business don't do that. And the beautiful thing about it is it's all a tax write-off because you're going for business. So you get to travel, which is fun. You get to travel and go to all these other cities and meet a bunch of people and learn about a bunch of new products that ultimately is going to make you probably a lot more money. It's kind of a no-brainer. So going back to the Beanie Baby story, it took us probably several months before we finally decided, okay, we're going to carry Beanie Babies. And we would literally pay full retail price at your Hallmark or your candy store, whoever was getting them. All these random type of stores would get like a direct wholesale license through Thai, and they would get shipments by the box. It was like around 100 beanies in a case. If I remember, it was like 108. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Around 100 or so beanies in a case. And they would get cases and cases. I mean, truckloads of these things in. And we would just go and pay full retail and buy a bunch of them and put them in our store and just mark them up, and people would still buy them because, as you know, the wonderful law of supply and demand. Supply and demand, that is the thing that drives prices. So when there's massive demand and there's low supply, prices inflate. And people are willing to pay it, especially when there's a frenzy going on, when there's a craze going on. That's what makes a lot of possibilities to make profits and to carry your business, is when you're able to cash in on those things. So as we're going to recap here, just remember, in your business, no matter what's going on, take your blinders off. Be open to all the other possibilities. Make friends like we talk about. Listen, collaborate, read, study, go to conventions. I'm going to keep saying that over and over and over. Go to them. Learn about your trade inside and out. And as long as you continue to do that, you will have an edge over the competition. The rest is up to you. All right, everybody. Thanks again. Be the hustler.